G'day everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of the Pressure Point podcast. We've had the second round back of footy this week, so it's been exciting. Finally something to watch on our TVs. How did you find it with football finally back on?
It was good. I was a bit worried though after Thursday night's game. Get sucked into all the talk about the state of the game, but no, it was good to have footy back. It was as disappointing as it was for some supporters, it was good to have it back.
Yeah, definitely. Now the biggest talking point, especially after the first game of the round, the low scoring. Do you reckon that had anything due to the shorter length of the quarters? Do you reckon they're working?
After Thursday night, I would have said no, just because it was an absolute. I don't know. It was actually hard to describe that game on Thursday night. Like it was, the players looked absolutely cooked. So that's what I got from it. Like the shortened quarters maybe, but just the players looked absolutely cooked, and it just turned into a defensive slog. So, and that, I thought that was going to happen all weekend. Players hadn't played for 3 months. I thought, who knows? All these games going to be, 36 each. So it was a bit concerning, but I think the shortened quarters overall worked okay for the weekend. But, I'd still prefer 20 minutes, but I think they worked okay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I'd prefer 20 minutes any day of the week, but I think the shorter quarters did work. The Richmond Collingwood game, I think, was a bit of an outlier. Yeah. Considering the Friday night game, Geelong kicked over 100 points, so I think it worked fine. Glad next year they're moving on, but I think it was all good. Another talking point of the week, though, was Sean Burgoyne, the sling tackle. He got let off. So
I can't believe this.
I don't know. I know the ruling behind it is pretty clear, I would have thought, but the match review system didn't seem to think so.
I can't believe this. It's an absolute joke that he's been let off for that. I was watching that live and I thought that is an outrageous tackle. Like he's nearly killed him, but he gets off. What do you get? $1,000, $2,000 fine or something like that?
Yeah, it's not something like that.
I think the argument that was put forward over the weekend was if that was Toby Greene, he would have got 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, 100%. Easy.
So it's...
I mean, granted, Toby does have prior records, obviously, but that was a dangerous tackle.
Absolutely.
I've seen people get a lot more for a lot less.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. That baffles me, that one. And, already we're two rounds in, or pretty much one round in, and the MRP is already under a lot of scrutiny. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, there's already, I think, too many inconsistencies. They're going to clear those up.
Ridiculous.
It's one rule for everybody. I think.
Absolutely. I don't know. That baffles me. So, I think he should have got at least a week. At least with a good record, a week would have been fine, and I think everyone would have been like, "Yeah, that's fair enough."
He got something.
Yeah. But just to get a cheap fine, like pretty much a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Because what message does that send to other players now?
Exactly right. Well, look what Mitch Robinson posted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what Mitch Robinson's going to plan on going out there now, just dumping guys
exactly
head first
right.
to the ground.
But he's another one. If Mitch Robinson did that, he probably would have got 3 weeks.
Oh, 100%.
So there needs to be a clear ruling on that for sure.
Definitely. Now, we had some big winners and big losers this week. Who do you think's probably... I mean, it's hard to look past Gold Coast, I guess, but who do you reckon the biggest winner of the round is?
I'm probably going to go North Melbourne.
Yeah.
I thought they were incredible. I watched a fair bit of that game and they looked really, really good. I didn't have any expectations for North going into this season. And they, from the first bounce, they looked incredible. They were so slick, so strong. Sean Higgins, Ben Cunnington, Todd Goldstein, players like that just played incredible. So, and to beat GWS, who people were picking, for the flag this year, and beat them over there is a great result. And they're 2-0 now. They're sitting second on the ladder.
2-0, and they've got a couple of winnable games coming up. So I think bright things ahead for North.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is going to strike a nerve or not, but biggest loser of the round.
Jeez. Yeah. Being a Blues supporter, it's hard to go past us. I'd say the Blues or Dogs.
I was gonna say I'm Dogs for this one. I think the Bulldogs are. I mean, they had some big expectations, and they're 0-2 at the moment, and they didn't really look like causing any sort of comeback or anything against the Saints. So I think the Bulldogs really need to.
I think for the expectations that the Bulldogs had at the start of the season as well, I think that's what's most disappointing for them. And yeah, they haven't just lost their first 2 games. They've been pumped both times. So that's the concerning thing about it. But, geez, the Blues though, for me.
Yeah. Well, we've got plenty of time to talk about the Blues. I think we'll dive into the games of the round. We'll have a chat about it. Let's start with Thursday night's game, Collingwood Richmond. I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah, well, you're the Richmond man, so I want to hear what your thoughts are on it.
Oh, for starters, being a Richmond supporter, that first quarter, I thought, here we go. I thought Collingwood have been known to do this to us. I thought it was going to happen. Here we go. And then after, I don't know, Collingwood didn't kick a goal after the 7th minute of the second quarter, and then it was just one of the worst games of football I think I've ever watched. As you said before, it just turned into a defensive slog. I mean, people were just putting it on their boot, wasn't watching where it was going, turnover after turnover. Jack Rewalt missing from 30 metres out. I don't know what to say. I'm honestly baffled about what happened in this game.
What about the Jack Higgins mark?
Oh, don't start. The Jack Higgins mark. I'm not going to have a biased opinion on this, and you might be quite surprised, but that was not conclusive enough to override the goal umpire's decision. He paid it a behind. You could not see clearly if that was a mark or if it was over. You couldn't tell. You can't make that decision overall. Obviously, I'm happy he kicked the goal. You know, good to see Jack Higgins get one on the board after being off for a whole year with brain surgeries and whatnot. But yeah, that shouldn't have happened. The goal review system is very flawed. If you're gonna do it, have it done properly. Why was the closest camera on the further goalpost from where that took that? You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That should be a lot clearer.
You see the vision as well. There's a goal umpire and the boundary umpire they couldn't have been in a more perfect position to judge that as over the line.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And I feel like if you're going to overrule their decision, it has to be conclusive. It has to be clear, and it wasn't. And I think they made a big mistake with that.
The umpires are lucky that there was no Collingwood supporters at the ground.
Oh,
they would have jumped the fence after seeing that. I was right in front of the Collingwood end as well.
Yeah, no, 100% they would have. 100% they would have. And just on that, do you think? Apart from that decision, do you think the umpiring over the week was a bit better, considering they don't have the crowd in their ear yapping and influencing their decisions? You reckon they've got a lot more clearer thoughts and just make the right calls?
Definitely. I think a majority of the umpires' decisions get influenced by the crowd. Yeah. So I think they were a lot sharper. That's my opinion anyway. Like, I didn't see anything outrageous apart from that, but
and even that's not the umpire's
fault. It's not the umpire's fault, exactly.
That's the goal review system upstairs. So.
I didn't see anything ridiculous. Usually we're complaining about umpires every week, but I didn't see anything ridiculous, which was good.
Yeah, no, it was good to see. It was good to see. Another thing good to see, the scoring wasn't going to stay low with Friday night's clash, Geelong Hawthorn. I know you took close interest in that one. Yeah,
well, thank God for that game, because if that ended up being another low scoring affair, then there would have been some serious questions asked about the state of the game. But yeah, like that from pretty much it was quite even for the first half. The Hawks looked pretty good as well. But yeah, the Cats were just way too good in the end, and they looked pretty scary. Like, I think a lot of people wrote them off this year, but they actually looked, quite scary. But again, they're playing down in Geelong. Like, is that just because they're playing down there?
Yeah, I don't feel like a lot of sides are going to beat them down there. Although in saying that, Hawthorn were right in it up until half time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching the game. I thought this actually turning, like, Hawthorn have really, stepped it up, took it to them.
Yeah.
And then it just, I don't know what happened. They just sort of went down from there, and Geelong took over and took control of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I gave my votes for this game as well. So I gave 1 vote to Brian Myers, 2 votes to Gary Ablett. Just touch on Gary Ablett. Like, he's incredible.
Oh,
he's 35, 36 years old, and he's still dominating, which is great to see.
He's a superstar.
Yeah. And then I gave 3 votes to Joel Selwood, who was best on ground for mine.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now I think I got a bit emotional talking about Richmond and all that just before. I forgot to do my votes for the Richmond-Collingwood game. So I couldn't really decide between my 1 vote, either Trent Cotchin or Josh Dacos. But I think I'm going to go to Josh Dacos. Just clearly had so much of the footy in the first half especially. My 2 votes went to Scott Pendlebury, Mr. Consistent, and then my 3 votes went to Tom Phillips.
Easy. All right. So we've got Brisbane-Freo on the Saturday. That was a really, really good game of footy, I thought. I know, what do you think about Charlie Cameron? I know Did you tip him to kick the most goals of the round?
Yeah, well, with our audience engagement question last week, I voted for Charlie. I thought he'd kick the most, and he did quite comfortably. He kicked 4, so I mean, he's going to be the best small forward in the game, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I watched. I think he kicked 4 goals by half time. He was just all over him. Just so silky, so classy, and I think he's just continued on that form from last season. And it's good to see the Lions back up and about. I think they hadn't won since around 20 last year.
Something like
that. I think
they
lost like 4 or 5 in a row. So
well, I mean, that was mainly due to coming up to Richmond twice.
They did.
That'll do it to them.
That's it. And then straight sets in the finals. So it was good to see the Lions back up and about. And Lachie Neale was dominant again. So.
I think he loves playing against his old side, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. Oh, I think he loves playing against every side at the moment. He just racks up the footy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I think the Lions are definitely going to be a good side again this year with the players they've got. Now I might step out of the room for this next game. It could be dangerous. I'm going to let you take the floor, but just before you do, I know you're going to be given quite the spray, so I bought something just to protect myself.
Oh, no. Oh, God.
So go ahead. I'm ready for this.
So Carlton played Melbourne. So we spoke last week. The loser of this game is going to be severely under pressure. And the Blues couldn't have gotten off to a worse start. Absolutely pathetic in that first quarter. Didn't get near it. Melbourne were just first for the footy. I think we had the first 10. They had the first 10 inside 50s to 0. We couldn't lay a tackle, couldn't lay a glove on them. They were just harder at the footy. It was fucking pathetic, to be honest. And it made my blood boil. And then even in the comeback, I think the comeback sort of sugarcoats how bad we were during that game. Some people are saying, it was a miraculous comeback, 42 points down, but I didn't see any good signs during that comeback. Enough's enough. There's been enough talk about our rebuild and, the age of our list and where we're going. And, the time is now. Carlton fans are sick of this shit. It happens every year. We start poorly in games, we come back, and it's harder work to come back into a footy game.
Yeah.
If you start well, you can hold a lead, you can manage the game out, but we're just constantly playing catch up footy, and it's disgusting. And we're sick of hearing the PR game from the footy club, saying, "Well, we're ready, we'll be ready when footy comes back." Well, they clearly weren't. You
got jumped. You did.
It just pisses me off. We should be beating teams like Melbourne. Melbourne finished well below us last year. They were terrible, and we almost had a full strength team out there as well, it was just poor. Paddy Cripps definitely got beaten by Clayton Oliver.
Yeah.
He kicked a big goal late in the game, but before that he was doing nothing. It was our leaders like Ed Curnow, Murph. They were okay, but they just didn't stand up when it counted. I thought the only shining light for the game was Jacob Wiedering. If we're picking an All-Australian team right now, he'd be centre half back.
Yeah,
he's been incredible. But Jesus, it's so upsetting. And to be honest, I spoke for a lot of Carlton supporters, and we're all just fucking fed up. It's becoming an absolute joke now. That was we should have won by 3 or 4 goals. Yeah. The way we dominated that second half. But I say we dominated, we had a lot of the ball, but we weren't doing anything with it, and nothing was getting us out of our seats about. As I said, if even if we won that game, I would have been that was shit.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch. I think if we did win, it would have sugarcoated our real issues. So, and then now we have to go down to Geelong, down there,
and try and top the Cats.
Yeah, so it's concerning because I don't think we've won one of our first 3 or 4 games in a season since 2013 or something like that. So we start seasons poorly, and it's just catch up from there. So I don't know. We're all pretty fed up. We're all pretty gutted as a group, and it's just extremely disappointing.
And I think there's some big question marks circling Carlton, especially Yeah, especially after this loss. And I know we were saying last week that it's a huge game to win for either side, but I don't even know if I don't know. I didn't think Melbourne played that well themselves. I mean, they won obviously, but I don't think this really put them in any position to look like they're going to have a strong attack this year. So I mean, obviously, Christian Petrarca, Clayton Oliver, as you said, they both had good games. Like they stood up. And didn't really looked pretty unstoppable. But other than that, neither side, in my eyes, didn't see anything positive from either team really.
Arguably, like that second half, Melbourne barely touched the footy, so they were equally as bad as we. Well, maybe I don't know. We were bloody shocking in that first quarter, but after halftime, Melbourne barely touched the footy. I think they kicked 1 goal, for the second half. So like they were pretty poor as well, but yeah, it was a bizarre game of footy. Like both teams were just shit, just skill errors, missing targets. So it's concerning considering both teams were expected to rise up the ladder this year, especially Melbourne as well. Everyone's expecting them to bounce back, and everyone's expecting the Blues to finally start winning some games. So overall pretty disappointing game. I don't think Melbourne's going to be too excited about the win, and I don't think Carlton would have been too excited either. So, that's it, mate. I've got nothing else to say. I'm pretty flat about it. So,
I heard someone during the week in the media saying that a lot of people were saying that 2019 was out of character for Melbourne. The way they were, they were poor, obviously.
Yeah.
But then he was saying after the performances, the first 2 games this year, it really looks like 2018 was out of character for Melbourne. That they just they never really had it. They just sort of had a fluky season. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that's sort of spot on, or do you reckon they can still turn this around?
They didn't suggest to me that they were looking to turn it around in that game. I mean, like they look, it is really hard to say because that first quarter they absolutely dominated, but Carlton was just so bad. So it's hard to get a gauge on where they're at. I guess it's just going to see how they go in the next few weeks. Time will tell with Melbourne. It's hard to judge them. But I don't know. Who knows? Again, like I'm frustrated about being a Carlton supporter, but I think being a Melbourne supporter would probably be even worse.
Yeah.
So
now I know this would have been hard, but how'd you go for your votes?
For my votes, I gave Jacob Wiedering 1 vote. He was just dominant in defence. And he looks set to have a massive year. I gave Max Gawn 2 votes. He was on top early. Sort of got neutralised a bit by Pitnet in the second half, but he was just way too dominant early and really set the game up for him. And then Christian Petrarca got my 3 votes. I thought he was really good, and I did pick him to be the biggest improver this year, and he's definitely played like he's going to get to that level, which is good to see for Melbourne supporters. So.
All right, I got my face mask off now. I'm ready to talk a bit more civil. Now we're up to Port Adelaide, the showdown. I saw the prison bars, came out on display, which was nice to see. I wonder how Eddie felt about that one. But there's not much to say about this other than Port Adelaide are really establishing themselves as a final side. They just were too good for the Crows, and Adelaide are really looking like they're going to finish bottom at the moment.
Adelaide looked terrible.
There's no real positives. I couldn't find any positives for the Crows looking at this game. I watched it pretty closely. Port Adelaide were just all over them through the midfield, down forward. That's pretty much all I've got to say about that one. It was just a very, very one-sided game from the get-go. For my vote to this one, I gave 1 to the Archer, Xavier Dersma. I gave my 2 votes to Zach Butters and my 3 votes to Tom Rockcliffe just for his pure amount of disposals in the midfield. He just really dominated that game. Cool.
All right, and then the other game on Saturday night was between Gold Coast and West Coast.
Wowee.
Who
would have thought?
Wowee. Gold Coast. I don't know. I've got a few things to say about the Gold Coast. I know everyone's sort of tooting their horn after that, but they do this every year. They always start the season off well. They always win, their first 3 or, a couple in their first 4, and then they end up losing 18 in a row. So I'm not reading too much into it. Yes, they beat West Coast, who are arguably the best team, but I don't know. I'm not buying it yet. I want to see at least 8 weeks of footy of Gold Coast before I say that they've turned the corner, because we've seen this too often in the last few years. But in saying that, their number 1 draft pick, Matty Rowell. Jeez, what a player.
Jeez.
What a player. He's, very similar to sort of how Sam Walsh started last year as well. Those 2 number 1 draft picks just dominating right from the get-go. So he was really, really good.
These are 2 good games for him now. It's not like this is his first game he played was unreal as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hear with the Gold Coast thing, they do tend to win the first couple and then, lose 18 straight. But they didn't just beat West Coast. They beat them by 45 or 44 points. That's massive.
Yeah.
And I know it was up in Queensland, but it's not like the Gold Coast really have a home ground advantage up there.
Yeah.
Look, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for the Suns. I think they really needed a win like this just to give them confidence coming into the year. They might not do that well, but just a bit of confidence to know that they can beat sides, if they play good footy, and they did. They really showed that. Now, what did you think of the McGovern, Alex Sexton little brawl? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, did you see he clocked him? He clocked him quite well.
He clocked him pretty well. So I saw Sexton cleaned him up.
Yeah.
And then McGovern retaliated, pushed him into the fence,
Yeah.
which Sexton would sort of laugh that one off. And then it sort of turned into a bit of fisticuffs.
Yeah.
And McGovern's been given a week.
Yeah,
So.
and I did see that they were appealing it as well.
Yeah, but apparently McGovern reckons he didn't realise he hit him.
Jeez.
I don't know how you throw a fist and not realise you've hit someone, but
sounds like his brother. Just as pathetic as each other, those 2. But
Yeah,
anyway, I'm not getting back onto Carlton again.
we'll keep off that. I'll really take my mask off.
The votes for that one. So I gave Lockie Weller 1 vote, Sam Day 2 votes, and Matty Rowell 3 votes. So
he's gonna be a superstar.
Yeah. So I really do hope Gold Coast do well. Like I hope they have turned the corner because they've been bad. They haven't played finals since they've come into the AFL. So I do hope they've turned the corner. But I want to see more of them before I judge them.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the other new team in the AFL, if you still call them new, but GWS versus North Melbourne. Another one, I guess I could say, wowee.
Yeah.
North.
Incredible.
Where have they come from? I mean, as you said earlier, I didn't really expect much from North Melbourne coming into the season. And they've just started off on a flyer. I mean, they were all over GWS. The last quarter was a really, really entertaining quarter of football.
Yeah.
And the Giants brought it back to within a kick. And I thought, here we go. They're going to roll them now. North will run out of legs. They won't have the experience, blah, blah, blah. But they held on. They kicked a couple, just broke away, and they just had a really good win, especially up there in Sydney as well.
Yeah, and especially due to the fact that they flew up that morning as well.
Yeah.
And they were up at 5:30 that morning and had a game by 1 o'clock. So
yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
good effort.
They also had to fly a lot on the same plane as the Essendon players. So
that would have been hard enough.
That would have had headaches running out into the field. So, I thought North did really well to come over and beat GWS.
Could they be the bolter of 2020?
I think so. I mean, just from that performance, if they've got a few winnable games in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If they can play like they did against the Giants, then I think they would be. I think they will be the bolter. For my votes for that game, I've given 1 vote to Cameron Zuhar for his performance down forward.
How good's a mullet?
Oh, love it. It's a trend at the moment in the AFL, but he's definitely rocking it well. My 2 votes to Sean Higgins, and my 3 votes to the big man Todd Goldstein. He had a blinder.
He's absolutely back.
It's good to see him back playing good footy again. And I think when he's playing good, North play good just as a whole. I think he's a pinnacle of the club. So, yeah.
All right. The other game on the Sunday was between Sydney and Essendon, which we'll just scroll past that.
No, come on, give the people what they want.
That was actually quite an entertaining game of footy as well. It was pretty close for most of it. Essendon kicked away at times, but Sydney were able to reel it in and really make it a good contest. And it really did come down to the last few minutes of the game, and it took a bit of magic from Darcy Parish to kick a great goal from the boundary to seal the win. But then Sydney, right at the end, I think with 30 seconds to go, they had a shot from 50 to, I think it might have been to level it or get within a point or something like that. And they hit the post. So very entertaining game. I know a lot of Bombers fans are a bit excited, which is cute, but they always do this, and I want to see them be a bit more consistent. They always seem to get these great results, and we're here, but then the next week they'll lose to Gold Coast or Carlton or something like that. So I want to see a bit more consistency from the Bombers before I start calling them a good team.
Yeah, no, that was obviously the Joe Danaher Cup, as we mentioned last week. In the news, I was saying Joe Danaher is close. He's close to coming back. Do you reckon he's going to...
Close to coming back or close to going to Sydney?
Well, coming back playing footy, I think. Coming back to playing footy. Do you reckon, I mean, if the Bombers... They played well. Well, credit where credit's due. They played well against Sydney. Do you reckon with Joe Danaher, do you reckon he's going to come out firing when he does eventually get back?
I'm not sure. He hasn't played for a while as well, so it is hard to tell with him. But if he wants to get his value up, then it'd probably be in his best interest to really play well this season and get that trade over to Sydney, which we think he's going to do. So see what happens. But my votes for that game, I gave one vote to Darcy Parish. He had a massive last quarter. It was a bit quiet in the first 3 quarters, but he ended up being the difference for the Bombers, so he was really good. I gave 2 votes to Jake Lloyd from Sydney, and my 3 votes went to Zach Merritt, who was a very classy player and was very good.
Beautiful. Now move on to the Saints versus the Doggies. How good did the Saints look?
Oh, they looked very good. Unbelievable.
I mean, I didn't get down to Dramana Drive-Ins myself to watch the game there, but the Saints were looking very good. They were all class against the Dogs yesterday. As we said earlier, the Dogs are looking in big trouble. They had a big loss to the Saints. The Saints played very well, and Brad Hill is just absolutely elite.
I think he's the best ball user in the game.
He's a fantastic pickup for the Saints.
Jesus.
He just killed it, didn't he?
He was unbelievable. I think all the Saints recruits played really well too. Even Dan Butler looked all right. I think. Yeah. So he was hitting packs hard and using his space, which was really good. Using his pace, not his space. And even Zach Jones looked pretty good. Even Dan Hanbury was he's finally starting to get a bit of continuity in his body too. So he was looking good for the Saints. So, but yeah, on the other end of that, the Doggies, alarm bells are starting to ring there.
Trouble in the kennel.
For sure.
Definitely. I don't know what it is. They've got the talent. They're just not putting it together the way they should be.
I think they got absolutely bullied in that final last season. And I think that's probably stuck with them a bit.
Bit of PTSD.
I think so, because the Giants absolutely bullied them in that elimination final. So I don't know. It's a big one for the Dogs because they had a lot of hope and expectation on them this season. So they're going to want to bounce back pretty quickly.
And they've got a couple of games coming up that are winnable for them. Definitely. I mean, you would have thought the first 2 rounds are winnable for them as well. But they've got the opportunity to bounce back. So it'll just be good to see how they go and if they really, if they take that jump and start winning some games and playing good footy again.
Yeah.
And my votes for that game were, I gave 1 vote to Zach Jones. I think he's a really great player. I love how hard he is at the footy.
Yeah.
My 2 votes went to Josh Dunkley. And for my 3 votes, I was tossing up between either Jack Billings or Brad Hill. I think I was giving to Jack Billings. I thought Jack Billings had a great game. It's good to see him playing some good footy again as well. I know he had a bit of a down last couple of years, up and down with it. But...
Getting to that age now where he's, getting into that era of his career where he needs to start dominating games and showing that talent off.
Yeah, he's past the point of being a good young player.
Yeah.
He's now just going to be a good player solid.
Yeah,
so
and needs to start performing consistently.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's every game of the week. It was a good week of footy. Good to have it back.
It's good to have it back. A lot of talking points, as always. But yeah, it's hopefully... it's just a shame I had to really get all that off my chest about the Blues, but...
Well, we look forward to some more podcast content over the next few weeks of the Blues. Now, for our audience engagement question for episode 3, will the Gold Coast be the biggest improver this season? So far, all signs point to yes.
Yes.
What do you reckon?
As I said before, I want to see a good 8 weeks out of him before we judge him. Yeah. This question was probably asked, this time for the last 4 seasons, around this time of the year. So, give me another 8 weeks, and I'll be the judge of that. But yeah, feel free to have you saying that. Just check it out on our social media. There'll be a poll up, and let us know if you think Gold Coast will be the biggest improver, or if you think another team will be. Just let us know through there.
Definitely. Now, speaking of our social media, for those who've been paying attention, we've had some beautiful headshots of us taken throughout the week, looking quite handsome in our football gear, and I'd like to thank Enzo from Retrojet Prints for that. does fantastic work over there with his graphic designing and all the rest of it. And especially if you're a football club looking to have some photos taken, he's definitely the man to go to. So
what a man!
Yeah, great, absolute fantastic man. Diehard Richmond supporter. I'd love to have him on the podcast one day.
If you listen to Nans, you'll be on this podcast soon. We'll make you come on it.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely check him out. And if you want to hear anything about him, message us and we'll put you through. But I think that's it for this week.
That is it. Footy's back. It's great.
It's good to have it back. Look forward to round 3.
Round 3 coming up this week. Who we got? Tigers Hawks.
Thursday night.
That's it.
Looking forward to previewing that. So tune in next episode for the preview.